Hi, everybody. My name is Joel Butterly. I am the co-founder and CEO of InGenius Prep. And I just wanted to take a minute to talk about this NYU test score hack. Some of you might have seen this. It does appear to be genuine. That is to say, somebody did hack in to NYU student files and pulled the average SAT data by race. And here's the outcome showing that Asian applicants have by far the highest test scores and declining from there. Now, one thing that I'll say, generally speaking, is that this data, the only thing that's radically different about this data than what you might expect at another school or at another time is that obviously now we're in a world post the Supreme Court case of Students for Fair Admission, which ostensibly banned affirmative action. And so the question is, does this data show that NYU is violating a constitutional Supreme Court order? A couple of things. One is that these schools are not required to have a specific test score requirement. The Supreme Court specifically left open the opportunity for schools to consider race indirectly. That is to say, you cannot say, because you are this race, we give you an extra 200 points on the SAT. But what you can do is look at race and the way that might have affected somebody in their life by looking at their essays and their letters of recommendation and taking that into consideration. When I read the decision the first time, one of the first things I thought was, I doubt then that much is going to change in terms of the composition of these students, at least for the non-technical schools. And indeed, what we have seen is that you really haven't been a precipitous drop in underrepresented minority students at a lot of campuses where people were expecting it, with the notable exception of schools like MIT, where the percentage of African American students went down considerably. The bottom line is that I did not interpret the Student for Fair Admission Supreme Court case as outlawing affirmative action in all forms. All it really outlawed was the use of race as a direct contributing variable for qualification. But you can use it indirectly. So, for example, if you grew up in the Deep South as an Arab American student and faced a lot of discrimination, the experience of dealing with that discrimination and overcoming it and learning from it over time, that is something that the admissions office can and probably should take into consideration. So, this data does not particularly surprise me. I don't think that people should necessarily be outraged. What you are looking at is a pretty typical distribution of test scores by race. That is to say, if you were to just look at all SAT takers, not just those who get into NYU, the relative differences between the groups is in line with the discrepancies at a nationwide level. And you can have a long debate about why that's the case, but the kind of bottom line is this should not be surprising to anybody. And until student fair admission is overturned or augmented with an additional ruling, say that race cannot be considered in any form or fashion, I would expect there to continue to use legal means to make as diverse a class as humanly possible, which is entirely within their right. So anyway, I hope that was helpful and looking forward to talking to you all again soon and hope you have a wonderful weekend.